Hi, in this video I will show you how to use AWS System Manager for Windows Server 2022 patching. Here we will see how we need to enable the Amazon EC2 instance with OS version Windows Server 2022, which can report to the AWS System Manager. And on the AWS System Manager we will see what is that configuration that we need to maintain in the System Manager features, so that this Windows Server automatically reports to the AWS System Manager and gets patched by the. Currently I'm in my AWS EC2 service. Now let me quickly walk you through here, that is what is that you need to maintain on your EC2 instance, so that this EC2 instance reports to the AWS System Manager with using the private endpoint. What does that mean is, here we are not using any public IP address. First thing is, you need to have an EC2 instance profile role. So that EC2 instance profile role should have an access that is basically give it a full access on the SSM service, S3 bucket service, EC2 instance services and other services. For now in this demo I have given full access, as you see here, and here this IAM role is been trusted by EC2 service, SSM service plus backup, since we are not using backup here. So for now, just to showcase, so these are all the the principal services this role is trusted by. The action is STS assume role, and this IAM role is been elevated as a EC2 instance profile role, and that role is been attached to this particular EC2 instance. So this becomes a prerequisite one. The other one is on the VPC. So the VPC where your EC2 instance is created, on that VPC you need to create 3 endpoints. So those endpoints are something like this. So if you see here, you need to create the endpoints for the service, that is SSM of type interface, and then SSM messages the service name. So basically there are 2 service endpoints from the SSM service. One is ending with .ssm and SSM messages, and one endpoint for EC2 messages as well, that is sitting under EC2 services. So when the SSM agent is working, the another way to confirm is you can go to the System Manager service, as I am here. So as you see that currently I'm in, remember that currently I'm in the same region of the System Manager service is basically the region of my System Manager services is the same region as my EC2 service. Okay, so within this one, in the left hand side there is something option called Fleet Manager. When you click on that, you should see your EC2 instance reporting here, as you see here. So our EC2 instance is for Windows Server 2022 patching. All right, the first thing is, as you see here in the left hand side, so there is an option called Patch Manager. When you click on a Patch Manager, it will take us to this particular the dashboard, right? So in the dashboard you can see that the compliance reporting here, and then there are the patch baseline options. So in the patch baseline options, as you see here, there are a lot of default patch baselines provided by the AWS itself, and those patch baselines are targeted to a certain operating system classes, right? And in that one you see that there are by default there are there are default patch lines, by default there are something or no, right? So in this case we're going to create a custom patch baseline, so that we define the patch baseline definitions according to our need. So to do that, you can click on a create patch baseline, give the name like test demo, and then in the description, that is optional, you can keep it default. In the operating system, you see that there are a lot of the operating system possibilities here. We're going to choose the Windows because this is demos for Windows, and underneath that there is an option for approval rules for operating system. So here we are building a patching automation for OS level patching. Okay, so for that case we need to go for the operating system rule. Okay, in that one, in the product, we're going to choose the product that is of our type. So this demo is for Windows 22, so that is Windows 2022, right? So we're going to select that, and then in the classification, that is basically patch classifications. So whenever the patches are being released by the respective OS providers, like Microsoft for Windows, Linux for the Linux, like that, right? So they actually classify the the patches, saying like whether it is a critical, driver, feature packs, like that. Okay, for now I'm gonna choose all the classifications by default, and then each patches also have its own severities. right? Some patches are critical, some patches are moderate, important, low, like that. So for now, I'm going to choose all because this is a demo. In the right hand side, there is an auto approval option. So in that one, we're going to choose the approve patches after a specified number of days, which is equal to 0. What does that mean? This is basically, the threshold period, or basically it's kind of a notice period after the patches are being released, right? So that you have a, the impact, you have the visibility to the impact on that OS after the patch is installed. For now, I'm keeping it 0, but at the enterprise level, you need to give certain, the number of days like that. Yeah. And with that, we're going to go to the another option, that is approval rules for applications. Since we are choosing the Windows OS as the default, all right. So for now, let me ignore it. But in your case, you can always choose this. If you see here, that is Active Directory, Antigen, Bing, right? So Exchanges, Forefront. So they're all Windows products, right? Windows OS products. And then you see that here is the, patches by product. Okay. This is patches by product families and patches by product. So those are all options. You can keep it in the classification, which is equivalent to what we have discussed, and also the severity, right? In the approvals also, it's equivalent to whatever we have discussed. And then the compliance report, which is basically, you can always keep it always, which can be keep it always to a unspecified. For now, I'm going to remove the, the approval rules for applications, and in the exception. So exception is the another part of this definition where you can, explicit tell like, I want this KB to be installed, and also there is another option that is converse of that is, except this KB, you want to install all other possible KBs. So that kind of requirement can be met with this particular, the options of the definition, that is patch exception. If you want to give the explicit name of the KBs to be installed, you can give it, and here you can provide the approved patch compliance labels as well. And then the rejection, which means that, except this, you can install something like that, which is are all options. With that note, so you can click on a create batch baseline, which will automatically create a patch baseline for us, something like this. So in my case, this is the patch baseline, which I have created exactly like as I explained. So here there is a one more property missing, that is basically, we have not seen there is an option called patch group. So we also need to add a patch group. Patch group is basically a logical grouping of the patch baseline, which actually defines that, on which set of EC2 instance, this patch baseline has to be applied, which means that, if you annotate the patch baseline group equal to some value, so that same, key value, if you add it on an EC2 machine, that EC2 machine becomes, will be scoped for this patch baseline to be applied. All right. It's basically, mapping the patch baseline to the EC2 instance by having a same tags, or by having a similar tags on the EC2 instance. Now, as we have seen that, this option is not available in the UI. This can be enabled by using the CloudFormation template, Terraform, or using the AWS CLI or SDKs. So to enable this patch group, I have did some, AWS CLI task, that is from my, the PowerShell terminal with using the VS Code. Here I have set the context of my AWS account by using the AWS access key and secret, and then the setting the reason equal to US Vesta2, where is actually my patch baseline is created, and the output equal to JSON. And then I run this command, that is, as you see here, I run a command called AWS SSM register patch baseline for patch group. This is a baseline ID and this is the patch group. And then it has to return this much output, which means that, you have actually tagged that patch baseline to a group called patch group equal to dev. Now, if you go back to the patch manager's dashboard again, here you should see your, the patch group appearing here. So we have a patch group name called dev, and then the respective definition that is available here, which you can see it. Okay. Now, as I explained that, this is basically how you can annotate this patch baseline to be applied on a set of, EC2 machines which has similar tags. Okay. Now, with that options, let's go to the another configuration that you need to maintain immediately after the patch baseline definitions. That is actually maintenance window. So maintenance window is a common word that you're going to use it, in the patch activity of the enterprise, right? So here we're going to create a maintenance window for the Windows Server 2022 patching. So to do that, you're going to have the button called create maintenance window. You can do these options with using the AWS, the CloudFormation template or Terraform. I'm going to share a template of called as the CloudFormation template, which can do the same thing, but you need to have the visibility, like how this maintenance window is defined with using the UI. Then only it benefits you, how it can be defined with using the automations. Okay, that becomes more meaningful. That's what I mean. Here you can give the name of maintenance window, like test mmm one maintenance window description. You can provide it. Here you can say like allow unregistered targets. You can always keep it like this. And in the schedule, so schedule is basically how frequently this maintenance window has to run. That is what the schedule defines. So here it has three options. That is, you can define with using the schedule builder, right? You can define with using the cron expressions if you are cron expert, right? Or using this one, right? Or using the cron scheduler builder. Okay, so let's go with the cron scheduler builder. Here you can use it default or hourly or daily. So let me use it as a hourly, and hourly in the sense, let me for now just keep it as a 2 hour hourly, but in your case you can change it. Okay, so basically generally patching will happen the weekly or something like weekly patching, something like that. So you can always define like this. All right, and then so let me for now, as we have said, that is using the hourly options, we're going to give it to the every 2 hours. The maintenance window duration, let it be the 2 hours, which is equivalent to the schedule hours. And then the stop initial task, basically this is nothing but if you read this, time to stop starting the scheduled task before the maintenance window ends. So here you need to give actually less than the duration of the maintenance window, right? And the start window, let me keep it the optional, but you can choose the start window like that, right? And then in the scheduled time zone, so here we're going to use the IST, that is the IST are basically Calcutta, so which is actually my local time actually. Yeah, so you can keep it this one, and start window you can also give it. Okay, so with that configuration, click on a create maintenance window, which will basically create a maintenance window, something like this. Once this maintenance window is created, you need to open it again, and that's where again we're going to do a further configuration, that is actually defining the targets and the tasks, which is another important, two very, very important activities right now. So whatever we have defined, that options you can always see it here. Now first one, let's try to create a targets. So as a maintenance window talks about, you are actually keeping the server in a certain, the basically maintenance task, right? During that maintenance window, you need to do a certain, the patching activity. That patching activity has to be targeted to something, right? So that is what the target means here. So to create a targets, you can always use a button that is actually, you see that there is an orange color button that is register target. Click on that. I'm going to tell you how to do that. So here, let's call it as a test target as a name, and then description you can provide it. Owner information not needed. So here you can target the the group of EC2 machine with using this target selection options. You can manually choose the EC2 instance. All right. So if you see that when I click on choose manually, so here our EC2 instance list is available. You can choose it by specifying the tags or by using the resource group options. So generally the specifying the instance by tag is a very affordable and highly recommended approach. So here you can give that hey, if an EC2 instance has this tag, that is my target. That kind of definition you can give it here. So for example, say if your EC2 instance has a tag key called env and value equal to dev, which means that EC2 instance becomes a target of this particular maintenance window. So that definition you can do it, and click on a create target register, so which will create a target register like I have already created. So if I can open this one and try to go to the edit button, so this is where you see that I have given the patch maintenance window, specified the the target the specific targets, that is by by EC2 instance tags key value. Okay, and then so that's how basically I created the maintenance window targets. Now we go to the another option, that is actually the another important task, the another important part of this maintenance window, that is task. Now we have targeted a EC2 instance. What is that on the target you need to do? You need to do a certain task. That is what you're gonna do it here. So when you click on a target, right? Let me explain how did I create that. But before I do that, let's try to show you the options. You can create a task by using the register run commands, register automations, register lambda task, or step functions task. Generally, in the enterprise grade level, you're going to use the step functions and lambda based activities so that you do it in a proper way. But at a high level, you can still achieve with using the run command task as well. for now I have defined like run command task. Maybe in the another video I'm going to show you the other possible tasks as well. Right, let's try to click on edit and see what is that, how did I create this run command task of this maintenance window. So this is my name as you see here, and down the line let me show you that, so what is that I have chosen, right? So here in the command document you see that we have chosen the default command document, that is default SSM document called AWS apply patch baseline. So if I click on this name, so you see that the patch baseline, basically the SSM document with a name like AWS apply patch baseline, and the platform, remember that the platform should be your OS group, that is Windows OS only, and the owner is Amazon. Okay, and the document version is latest, task priority is this one, and then in the target, so we just created a target, so that target will be used here. And in the rate control, basically the percentage of concurrency, in the sense how much each instance parallel you can patch it, that definition you can give it. Since the demo, so I have given 100%, error threshold equal to 0, and then the IAM service, so this is the IAM role. You need to give a very careful IAM role here, that is basically IAM role which has a full access on the SSM service, EC2 service, S3 bucket, and other services. Basically I have given an IAM role which has admin access, and this role is trusted by SSM service, EC2 services, like that, and that role is being given here. And then the output options, generally the SSM services, it's gonna store certain outputs to either to the CloudWatch or to the S3 bucket. So for now I'm gonna go for a very cost effective approach, that is S3 bucket. And also you can also set up the SNS notification for certain activities, like if it has failed, if it is success, like that. And in the parameters, so what is the parameters? Basically we have chosen the SSM document, that is AWS apply patch baseline of platform type Windows, so that needs a certain parameters, that is parameter is equal to operations and the snapshot ID. So the operation here is we want to install it, that is what I have given. Here is the command, and the timeout is the timeout is basically I have given 1 hour, and then the so then the snapshot ID, which is optional, you can keep it default. The comment is also optional, you can keep it default, while the timeout is not optional, so it's basically giving the default seconds. If you see that it is 600 seconds, which is equivalent to which is equivalent to the to the 10 minutes, basically, like that, yeah, something. So and then the CloudWatch alarm also you can also set up. Click on create, which will create a task. Can create a the target is how you can create a maintenance window task, something like this. So with this configurations, we have done whatever we want to do on the AWS System Manager side. Now with this maintenance window, everything is been done. Let's go to the patch manager. So within the patch managers, if you see here, right now our EC2 machine is reporting, but in the compliance report, you see that there is a compliance status equal to never reported. Why it is never reported? Because there is something is missing here. What is that? I'm going to show you. So on the EC2 instance side, so one side we have defined the SSM configuration. Then the other side, now if I go back to the my diagram, so here we have created a EC2 machine, we have created the AWS System Manager. This service is started to report in the AWS System Manager fleets, right? But there is still missing. What is that missing? As per the AWS System Manager patching definition, we have defined that this patching automation has a definition, and those definitions will be applied to the EC2 machine, which has a certain tags, and that tags includes 2 types of tags. If you remember that we have applied 2 types of tags, that is we are depending on 2 types of tags. One is basically target tags. What is the maintenance window targets tag? Maintenance window target tag is equal to that is ANV equal to dev, right? And then there is a one more tag you have to apply, that is patch space group equal to dev, right? So this is our patch baseline group. Okay, so if I go back to the this one, you see that our patch group is equal to dev, right? So patch space group you should give if your EC2 machine is not enabled with the IMDb version 2, right? That is metadata version 2. If you are not enabled, then you need to give with the space. My machine is not enabled with that, so I'm going to give it with that. For now, let's try to give the my patch group equal to dev and click on a save. So once you click on a save, what happens? Automatically with this, the definitions of your EC2 instance with this the tagging mechanism, the patch manager will automatically identify that and try to do all those things that it has to do according to the definition. Okay, so for now I'm going to go on a pause and try to come back with the showing you that how this definition that we have defined in the patch manager of the AWS System Manager, and then let's see how does that it actually applies the patches. So after waiting for more than 4 hours, I could show you that the machine that we have scoped here for patching, that is Windows Server 2022, is now patched, and you see that the patch manager summary shows the compliance equal to 100, and also the compliance report, if you see that, it shows it's 100% compliant. Now if I go to the compliance reporting, we should see our machine compliant to the status, right? So that is if you see that this is our machine, and the patch group, this is basically patch configuration type is patch group, and it is current status is compliant, and the baseline ID. So if I click on the baseline ID, it's the same ID which I have shown you during the when we were discussing on how to create a patch baseline, right? So if you see here, so I did a slight modification that, so instead of the scoping all classifications of patches, just selected the critical and security patches, and then the severity is also being selected this much. All right, so that is where our patch baseline became. And now if I go back to the the summary, right, so and that is how it resulted into a 100% compliance, the 100% patch compliance basically. Now what we do is I'm going to show you something that is on the maintenance window. So everything happens automatically. That is, if I go to the maintenance window, now in the maintenance window, if we go to the history, we should see some the task run history, which will show us that it has installed the required patches on the system. So if I go to the history, so there were couple of failures. I'm going to tell you why it got failed basically. So basically why it got failed is my machine was earlier did not had any access to the internet. Why? Because it was not having a public IP address, right? Since this is a demo environment or demo VPC, so I was earlier having the VPC connectivity with using the the SSM endpoint, and it does not had any kind of public IP address. So the internet access to this machine was not available. That's the reason the the previous iterations of maintenance window, right, were failing. But now the recent one got passed. Why? Because I have explicitly created a public IP address. That is, I created an elastic IP address and attached to this particular VM, and then internet became accessible, and that's where this the patching iteration, that is latest patching iteration. Okay, so if I tell you one more time, so our patching cycle was once in a 2 hours, right? So it got passed in the sense the recent maintenance window execution got succeeded. So let's try to view what does that it did. Okay, so if I click on a view details, right, here you go, right? So it says that apply a patch baseline, and then the task invocation was successful and the status was also successful. You can also see in Move Deeper, if you go to the run commands, and if you go to the command history, so here you should see the latest command history. So if I open this one here, you choose our machine. So this is what the machine that we have scoped here for patching, right? And then try to open the output. So here it clearly shows that what it has actually done. It has downloaded all the patches and installed all the patches, that you can see it here. And finally, and that is the result. If we go to the patch manager dashboard, our machine is successfully patched by the latest patch, by the patch baseline that we have created as per our requirement. And this is basically a dynamically scope, in the sense you just create a Windows servers of 2019, 2022, or any number of instances of 2022. You create it, but tag them with using the two types of tags. That is, you just tag them with using the environment equal to dev, patch group equal to dev. So then automatically these machines gets scoped to the this particular patching automation, and they get patched. And at the end of the day, you will have the report of your virtual machines compliant to the patches, that is 100% compliant. With that note, I have shown you the things need to be shown in this video. Finally, I can't request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. With that note, thank you. Thanks for attending the next video.